Welcome back, everyone. I'm pleased to be joined by Ksenia Tutrina with Aspen Snowmass Sotheby's International Realty. First of all, good morning, Ksenia.
Good morning, Diane.
What a gorgeous day it is up here on top of the mountain.
Every day is like this in Aspen. That's why even when it's cold and you have the sun, it's like there's no better place to be.
I agree. And so you've been on the show with me a couple of times now, and we've really delved into what's happening with the real estate market here for private people who are looking for a home or a second home or an investment. But today we're going to talk a little bit about the commercial market here.
Okay. Well, I think the commercial market is still going strong and steady. In fact, the last two sales that have happened were 2,700 a square foot. So that's a pretty significant number, and a lot of them are driven by the billionaires that are in town. And Randy Gold, who's one of the most seasoned appraisers in Aspen, he actually talked to us at the annual market update that the Aspen Board of Realtors put together. And according to his estimate, there's anywhere from 60 to 75 billionaires in Aspen who own commercial or residential real estate. And a lot of them are buying up offices, there's now a term hobby offices, so they live within walking distance to them, and then they want a hobby office in town. So that's driving a lot of the commercial real estate prices, and it's driving it up quite significantly. But if you look at the numbers, like in other major metropolitan cities like New York, San Francisco, and Tokyo, Aspen is like right behind them. But if you compare it, New York has, 15 million people, and there's about 150 billionaires there. So to have that concentration in Aspen is really what's driving a lot of the prices.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the year-round population in Aspen, last time I saw was like 7,000 year-round. So, I mean, it's crazy. You're right. It's a high concentration. Okay, so with that in mind, what happens when you have places like Zillow and others on the market? What effect are they having?
Well, we get that question a lot because obviously, just in general, nationwide, people are worried about the effects of Zillow on our profession and what it can mean for us. But to be quite honest with you, I think Aspen is such an idiosyncratic market that you really have to understand the neighborhoods because they have their own dynamics and they're very clear. And then not only the neighborhoods, but streets, and sometimes houses on the same street have such a disparity in pricing that anyone coming from outside of town doesn't really understand it. And then, an algorithm can't always explain that. And I can, if you want to have some good examples that I think show that, because I was thinking about it. I'm like, how do we explain the value to clients that we're more than just providers of information? There is actually a penthouse that's under contract now in the core that's for 15.9 million. So let's say 16 million. It's a 2,800 square foot condo. So that puts the price per square foot at like 5,600, which is really high. But then there's another penthouse that was sold literally 3 blocks from the core, so not too far, and maybe they're 9 blocks from each other. And that one sold for 9.8 million, and it's twice as big. And obviously we can talk about, are they comparable interior-wise, views? But let's say all other things being equal, the penthouse that's three blocks from the core is two and a half times on a price per square basis. So it's like, how do you explain that?
Right. And that's where you need to have like sort of the expertise of people like yourself that something like Zillow could really never explain.
No, and there's another great example. I was just sitting at an open house at one of our, in my opinion, most beautiful listings at 301 Lake Avenue, and that's a Lundy house, which was Bauhaus designer in Aspen. So it's really unique. It's incredible. It's super contemporary, brand new construction. And there's a house across the street that we also have a listing on at 300 Lake Avenue. So you're now on one street across the street from each other. The house that's the 300 Lake is only 3 million less than the other one, but the other one is twice as big. So, and they're both brand new. So how do you explain that? And again, price per square foot, one is at 2,800, the other one is at 42. So that's a 1,400 a square foot difference. So how do you explain that? And the way to explain it is, and maybe people will know this, Lake Avenue, when the homes face Hallam Lake, which is a big, beautiful preserve, and you have stunning views. So one could argue that the views on that lake warrant a 1,400 a square foot difference. Like that could be the price. And I've looked at the data for like the past couple of years in the West End, and homes on Lake Avenue facing that, they are either asking or they have sold for around 4,000 a square foot.
Okay, and I would be remiss in not talking about these last 2 weeks as far as the stock market, what's been happening financially. People are distressed about the coronavirus that's happening. Yesterday they just had the first presumptive case of coronavirus in Colorado. Have you guys seen any effect of that yet?
Well, I think that in combination with the correction in the financial market, I think people are a little bit hesitant and nervous. And I've talked to some locals who are either buyers or sellers, and their concern is, how is this going to affect either their buying power or their selling power? But the other way you can look at it is there may be some deals coming up because people have been waiting for a correction, and a lot of people want to make sure that they're kind of buying, at the end of the market or the bottom of the market. So there may be some sellers who are nervous about what's going to happen, and they may lower the price. And there also may be some buyers who would rather take the money out of the stock market and say, you know what, Aspen seems more like a safe haven for their investments, and it just may be an alternative investment for
So it actually might be the best time ever to just get in there and take advantage of the opportunity.
For sure, and I don't think we can discount it anymore. It's not just market noise. It's a legitimate concern. There was a great article in the New York Times this morning about how all of the airlines have been affected tremendously by the coronavirus, and obviously that trickles down into other industries like luxury and travel and events, conferences. Everything's getting canceled. So I think we'll see a little bit of a slowdown in the market. But again, I would just encourage people to look for deals. The penthouse that was outside of the core that I just told you about, that was originally listed for $12.4 million, and it just got sold for 9.8. So whether that was related to the market correction and the coronavirus, I don't really know, but one can make that argument that maybe it was.
Ksenia, thanks so much for coming on the show this morning. Thank you for the information. So appreciate it. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to say goodbye for the day. Stay tuned.